How are you guys doing today? So welcome, we're in our third of the 3 business pathway events, so we're good to be done on this today. But first of all, I'd like to do some introductions. I'm Kim O'Neill. I'm the director of the undergraduate programs for the School of Business. Christine Strait is back there. She's our advisor for the Eastside Leadership Center, and she does much of our admissions work in the School of Business. And speaking to you primarily today is Professor Oscar Seeley, who's going to be talking to you about our business program, as well as specifically the supply chain management option, which is one of our newest offerings in the School of Business. Okay. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Kim. So thank you for coming here, guys. I'm gathering that you are interested in the business school to a degree. And it's great to be here to give you guys a little bit of info. Along the way, if you guys have any questions about anything I mentioned, please just let me know, and we'll go from there. So I'll just give some brief information about the business school. We're going to talk about the fact that we have a BOTL and an ELC track that you can follow. I will give a little info about the curriculum and what are the highlights of our program, the differences between the two programs we have. We have a number of options, a number of concentrations. So you guys have a lot of choices to pick from once you are in the business school. And one of them is supply chain management. So I am actually in the supply chain management area. I'm an assistant professor. I've been here for 3 years. It's very exciting to be here at this time because our supply chain management program is exploding. So it's exciting to talk about that. And also the student experience and admissions parts as well, the registration and details. Okay, so I gather that you guys are excited to take the next step in your education journey because this is a big milestone to move on to deciding and pursuing what you want to be focused on for the next 2, 3, 4, 20, 40 years. It's an exciting time because you have a lot of choices, but you also want to make sure that you pursue the one that you're very excited in. You also want to make sure that it's a relevant topic, right? And we are in a very dynamic environment. Businesses are changing, economies are changing, so you want to make sure that you're staying on top of skills that are going to bring you the most benefit and joy when you're pursuing that. So we are the business school, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with this kind of figure. You see them on the websites. Some of the words are larger, some of the words are smaller. Do you know how these things are generated or why some of the words here are larger compared to the others? So, when you search websites or when you actually look for information on certain topics, analytics can be used to gather data on what are the popular topics, and data analysis can be done to generate figures like this where it shows which topics are getting big interest. So if you look at these are topics that fall under the business umbrella. And the ones that are gathering interest and the ones that are being searched more, you can see they're larger, but there are a lot of topics underneath that you can focus on and you can take interest in. So under the business umbrella, we go from accounting to finance to management, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with data analytics, or you've heard of the big data, right? It's one of the hot areas right now. It falls squarely under the business environment because the core of data analytics is to analyze the data that's available so that you can develop what we call prescriptive methods, meaning you want to open up a restaurant. You want to find out which one, what you should be offering in your menu. You can actually, or you want to find out in your menu, in the restaurant that you just opened up, in your menu, which items are more popular and which direction you should go with taking the next seasonal menu items. Well, looking for items that are searched, the things that are liked, the things that actually create better reputation for your business would help you develop a plan, both in terms of marketing, but also in terms of actually executing those menu items in a high-quality environment so that you can be more and more successful in your business. It's not just about, analyzing that data, but actually prescribing outcomes from them. What else should be in the menu? Where else should I open up my restaurant? Who should I cater to? Where should I, place my marketing budget? How should I finance my next investment? All of these are falling under the business umbrella. What do we do with our degree? What do we have? A little bit details. We have two unique but pretty similar programs. We have the BOFA program, which is a little bit larger than the ELC program. Have you guys been to the ELC location? It's actually pretty central in Valley View, corner of 140th, so it's easy access from here or from the city. The tuition and the scholarship opportunities, all of those are the same. And the admission requirements and all those cutoff details are also the same. But there are a little bit of differences in these two programs in terms of areas of study and how the programs are structured. What are these differences? In the BOFA program, we have a traditional model, but in the ELC, we have a cohort model, meaning you start with your cohort and you go through the program together with your peers in that same cohort, course after course and year after year. There are, advantages and challenges that come with both, but one of the great things that we have that separates these two is you have a variable schedule when you're in BOFA, so you can take classes during different days of the week, but in Bellevue, the classes are Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes on Saturdays. So if you're looking for a schedule that you want to know up front in terms of which days of the week you would like to come to classes, you can do Monday, Wednesday, and then some Saturdays at Bellevue. But if you want to have that variation and you want to be able to come day or evening, any day of the week, then you're more looking at the BOFA program. And there's the part-time option is a little bit more limited at ELC. What are our learning goals? So we really want to make sure that you guys are actually asking questions and thinking critically about the next thing that you want to examine. So in the classroom, I can come in and, your instructors are coming in and they're giving you information. And the goal is that you guys don't just take a note of it and you're like, okay, this sounds good, but actually think about it critically. Is this really, what is the next step based on this information? Where is this information going to help me in my next decision making? Do I have the right tools to make the decisions? All of these are included in your critical thinking and analysis. And to achieve that, we actually try to equip you guys with a lot of tools along the way. From Excel to being able to get proficient in other tools that allow you to do at least some degree of data analysis, some degree of statistical analysis. All of these are included in the tools that you guys get. We also have the ethical reasoning. Now, when you think of the business school, maybe you guys think of small businesses, or maybe you think of the big businesses that we have in the area, right? From Boeing to Starbucks to Amazon to Microsoft. And then we have a lot of small, just relatively smaller ones that support, Facebook has presence here, Google, Tableau, and, Boeing's suppliers. So for all of these businesses, they're going to need you guys, essentially, to make the right decisions. It can vary from, determining where is the next market that they should be going to. I mean, Starbucks, a couple of years back, made a big decision to move on to having more and more food items in their, in their menu. Or they decided to offer some, adult beverages in some of their locations. I mean, how do they make these kind of decisions? Which direction to go to? Or with Amazon, they're growing very, very fast. They have the front end of Amazon where we order a lot of things from, but their, personal assistant, Echo, Alexa, is growing very big. As well as their AWS, Amazon Web Services, the cloud and the server systems that they have. So how do they make sure that they actually go in the right direction? How do they actually make it that way? How do they do the funding for that way, going in that direction? All of these things fall under the strategic decision making, under the business side of things. And with ethical, so I brought this up because we were talking about Starbucks, and Starbucks became quite successful because they track very well where their coffee is coming from, right? So if you look at the Starbucks coffees that they sell at the store, or if you ask them about the cup that you're getting, they're going to talk about how it's fair trade and how they try to build a supply chain that they can track all the way to the coffee bean itself. These kind of things are very important in today's business. How do you make sure that you also achieve the ethical side of things? We also try to give you guys the written and oral communication skills. It's important to be able to write not just reflection papers, etc., but even sometimes writing a good email will get you through the next step or not, or making that presentation maybe 5 minutes, but it may help you get to the next promotion. And then the business knowledge. So, of course, we're going to give you guys the information about the finance side of things, but also the behavioral theories. How are the organizations formed, and what are the different ways that managers can approach problems? Economic principles, the details of the tools of macro and microeconomics. Quantitative methods gets into being able to gain analytical skills. Social theories, value creation. So what are some of the core courses that we go over? We just mentioned a couple of these. So management of organizations is about how do you actually manage organizations, how do you actually manage the people in those organizations. We have the managerial economics. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with the title of economics, but here we're looking at how does the economics reflect in the managerial arena. So it helps you make the right type of decisions. We just mentioned the marketing, which area you want to expand to when it comes to Starbucks, but it's not just that. It's also about, well, I want to open up the next Starbucks store. How do I find out? How big of a space should I have? Well, I need to look into forecasting my demand so that I have an idea about what kind of people, who's going to come and how many people are going to come. How many people is important because how big my store should be, but also who's going to come is important because it will help me determine what should I include in my menu. Am I going to be looking at more, business people if they come in the morning and ask for standard things? Or is it a place that's more visited by people in their leisure time, so they're more likely to order that venti, java chip, frappuccino, cappuccino with a whipped cream and a cherry on the top? More sophisticated or elegant drinks. So it's not just about marketing, but it's also about understanding the people coming. And operations management, like I said, that's my area. That's really about how do you actually make it done after that. So I decided where that I will open up a Starbucks store. I looked into my market. Now, how do I actually open it? How do I actually get the land? How do I actually get the lease? How do I actually determine how big it should be? Where am I going to get my machines? How am I going to make sure the maintenance is going to be done on time? Who's going to work which shift? All of these things are included in the execution, which is the operational side of things. We have the financial side, of course. How do I actually find investment to open it? But how do I actually run it and make sure that my finances are resulting in a profitable business? We have business writing in Bothell, like I said, which helps you with the writing skills. And at ELC, there are the business statistics, information management, introduction to org behavior, and we also have business, government, and society classes. Okay, we have, what else do we have? I think I may need to make sure that I give you all the info. We have internships. We have research availabilities where you can work with faculty one-on-one. Something gathers your interest and you want to learn more about it. You come to us and we would be very happy to work with you guys on research studies. study abroad opportunities. So if you want to learn about global businesses, and we do a lot of community projects. Just in the operations management class I'm teaching this quarter, we are working with a lot of local businesses, including restaurants, small manufacturers, small clinics, to get an understanding of them, but also build a network with them. So it's very, very community oriented. Now, we have student clubs. Here you can see many student clubs that are included under the umbrella of business. I am the advisor for the Supply Chain Management Club. Now, I want to give you guys just one quick advice. Sign up for the clubs right now. So you can just go to the U.B page or business page. You can see the business club information. Sign up now because there's no downside to learning about the events. Maybe that's not going to be the concentration that you will follow within the business, but there will be an event that will gather your interest. Just last week, as Supply Chain Club, we put together a blockchain in supply chain event. This is something that combines information about blockchain technologies, very, very fast advancing technology, together with supply chain side of things. So we had audiences that are from supply, that are interested about the supply network, but also about the blockchain, events. And we had the president of the Institute of Supply Management there. So I just recommend that you guys just sign up. This will help you learn about the events and also have fast access to events with limited capacity. So this will help you even get more information about what are you more passionate about. Okay, so what options and concentrations do we have? Options, in Bothell we have accounting, marketing, and supply chain management. And at Bellevue we have the marketing and the supply chain management. And then we have a number of concentrations from finance to marketing to retail management to management information systems, another very relevant area. Technology and innovation management, all of them or entrepreneurship at ELC. You can see that there's a lot of different paths that you can pursue under the business school. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about the supply chain management, because like I said, that's the area that I'm in, and also because this is a very fast-growing, exciting opportunity we have started. I just mentioned the Starbucks' ability to track their bees all the way to the farmers. Well, think about Amazon. They are offering 2-day shipping, and they make sure that you get the right product, whatever you order, very quickly from their locations to their hands. How do they actually make it? How do they actually make sure that their warehouses are at the right places, that their logistics systems are the right way? I met with the chief scientist at Amazon at a conference a couple of months ago, and he was talking about not only the importance of having the right structure, so that when an order comes in, you know exactly where to grab it from, which plane to put it on, which truck to get it in, and which door to leave it in front, but also the need for people that will be making these systems better and that will be making the decisions so that this 2-day shipping happens efficiently without any problems. So there's actually a very big need for people to help in systems like this. And it's not just Amazon, right? Walmart bought Jet.com because online shopping is taking over brick and mortar in a lot of industries. But even brick and mortar, when you go to Nordstrom, when you go to, Macy's, etc., you need to make sure that you have the product on that shelf. In fact, I don't know if you heard, Macy's is closing some of their stores. One of them is the Redmond store. They're closing it, not because their stores were empty. If you had gone there a couple of weeks ago, it's full. But it's full of the wrong stuff. So how do you make sure that you have the right stuff that's selling there, and the ones that are selling are quickly replenished? Those are the things that we are involved with in the supply chain umbrella. And why is it wanted? Well, there's a lot of jobs, like I said, from Amazon to Starbucks to Boeing, which has suppliers all around the world that brings materials here to be assembled at Renton or Everett. And also career path is very fruitful. It's not just that you start as a supply chain analyst, or it's not just operations analyst. It's possible that your title is a data analyst, but actually you're taking the supply chain path, because the data that you're looking into are actually going to help the companies find better suppliers, get things quicker, get products from Amazon to our door quicker, the right product, and without any damage. So all of these are included within the supply chain. And I was just mentioning about it, but it varies from what I just mentioned to things like a buyer. What's a buyer for a company? Well, you are buying you're spending somebody else's money to buy things, shop things, buy things that the company needs. It may even be office supplies that is needed for the business, or it may actually be, okay, what is needed to be sold at Nordstrom that I can buy from different designers. So all of these would be included in the buyer type of jobs. I mentioned the importance of forecasting, knowing what your demand is, where it's going to come from. You guys remember the product Segway? I mean, when it first came out, I don't know if you guys remember the story, but we now see the mall cops using it, or we see tourists using it, to walk around go around the cities. But when it first came out, they said it's going to be revolutionary. Next big thing, it's going to change the transportation industry. Well, it didn't, because they didn't understand the market very well. And then they switched gears to make it more towards the tourists and the cops, etc. Or quality control, how do you make sure that the quality of that coffee that a customer gets every single time has the right taste, right temperature, and the right quality, essentially. And we work with a lot of community partners. Here's just a list of some of them from working with them on internship, working with them on classroom projects, working with them on job opportunities. And actually, just last quarter, one of our partners, we worked with them, and in a classroom environment, one of our students from the class, just through the work that we had during the quarter, got an offer, accepted an offer, all before graduation. So you guys can see that this close network allows you guys to start your career pretty fast. So the course outline is that you guys take the operations management course, which is for all the business students, and also the project management is included in the course outline. And within supply chain, we have a number of classes. Introduction to supply chain, I teach this one to give you the top tools to go on. Like, how to make sure that you have the right product on your shelf at the right time. Also, we have sourcing. How do you get the different components and materials from all around the world? We have the supply chain internship, which is a part of the class. We ask you guys to do an internship, and we help make sure that you guys are learning the most during your internship. It's a great way for you to open that gate to your next step in your career. Yeah. Well, if you want to learn about the student experience, actually, I'll go back and say the same thing, but please just go ahead and look at the student club websites. Becoming a member is all about just sending an email saying, hey, I want to be a member. You're on that list. Once you're on that list, you get the information about the events, the field trips, the networking events that they do, career events, and I promise you, it's not spam, so you don't get something every day. It's only about events that they're putting together for you guys. So that's actually the best way to have access to the student experience. Okay, so I think this is when I will head over to Kim, but before that, any questions for me? Is there anything that gathered your interest here that you would like me to pursue further, talk about further? Well, I will put my email on the board, so if something comes to your mind, feel free to email me later on, and I would be very happy to try to answer your questions later on as well. Okay?
Thanks, Laura. So I'm going to make one pitch also, because I know a lot of you are not necessarily interested in business, but we do have a business minor that goes very well with various majors. And so that is something to think about, because pretty much whatever you do in your career, you're going to be involved with a business, and knowing how businesses work and those operations, business minor also complements many of the majors that are available. So just, I'm going to go over these slides very quickly because we have like 2 minutes left. And if you have questions, Christine's available to answer any admissions questions or whatever. So in terms of being admitted to the School of Business, we have 8 prerequisite classes. Minimum 2.0 grade in each, but if you just get 2.0s, you aren't going to get admitted because as you'll see, our minimum is, the average of those classes is much higher, okay? In addition to those 8 classes, we require what's referred to as the Writing Skills Assessment Test. You can go on the website to see more about it. It's a 90-minute test that you have to write a position paper and a persuasion paper. If you have taken the SAT writing or the ACT writing, those scores can be used in place of the WSA if you scored high enough. So there are alternate methods for that. So this is just some data for you in terms of the business program is considered a competitive admission program, which means that you don't just apply and get in, you have to meet certain criteria, and there is a selection process. And so this last year, the average prerequisite GPA, so the average of those 8 classes, was a 3.55, and the minimum average is 3.0. So again, we say you can get a 2.0 in one of those classes, but that means you have to do much better than a 2.0 in other classes to make up for that, right? So we allow you to maybe not be so good in all 8 of those, but you have to have some level of proficiency in all of them. And then the ELC, because it is a cohort model, we do accept a slightly lower GPA, and much of that is because of the strength of the cohort. So students generally have a higher grades individually, not as a whole, in a cohort model because of the camaraderie and there are a lot of advantages of the cohort. I always tell students, when I walk into the classroom, I'm the last one to know who's not there because everyone's already texted each other or told everybody in some way or another why they're late and to cover for them and stuff like that. So there's very much a network involved in the cohort and such. We do have an early admissions program for the School of Business. If you score a 3.0, excuse me, in stats and calculus, as well as get an acceptable score on the WSA, you can be admitted to business before you've finished all of those 8 courses and before you're actually eligible to apply. So you can be admitted to business in your freshman year if you've taken those classes and meet that criteria. Okay? And there's some contact information here in terms of Christine's information there. She's our primary admissions person for internal candidates. And she's available. We have drop-in advising on Thursday afternoon and Friday mornings if you want to just drop in, chat with her about what it takes to get into the business program or any concerns that we have. Okay? Any questions? Okay, well, thank you for your time today. And hopefully, I think we made it almost on time.